feel like if I say Mo and Scaz, that's too informal, okay? So Natasha and Emily, great to see you both on the day that the squad is officially announced for the World Cup. So first things first, whether or not you kind of expected to be in it or not, congratulations. That must always be a relief when you hear your name.
Thank you very much. You want to take that one?
No, I think...
After last time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, certainly for me, I think I would never, ever take it for granted. I think, obviously, the last one was a bit of a shock, which was very well documented for myself and probably everyone else. So, yeah, I think every time it comes around, it's just an absolute honour, to be honest. And like Scazzy's one of the only one that was lucky enough to do it last time out at a home World Cup. So, yeah, it's pretty special.
And a World Cup winner, obviously, as well. 5 World Cups now, Emily Scarratt. Nobody has done that, wearing the rose, man or woman, before. That's amazing.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, you never set out for these things. You just put your head down, enjoy what you do, and kind of, I personally, then see what happens. And yeah, now here we are a long way down the track and staring down a potential 5th World Cup, which is, I keep calling it potential because it still seems a little way away.
It's not though.
No, I know. Well, we officially had our last day of pre-season today, which we're all absolutely buzzing about because it's been a slog.
What does that mean when you have officially, I mean, so
I
all the horrible fitness stops now, does it?
Well, no, I don't think it does.
Yeah, I think it's just an S&C term that they just like to...
Right, you change the training block now.
Quite possibly, because we're obviously into competition, so we play Spain next weekend. So the mindset shifts a little bit more towards competition rather than that like beast yourself mentality. But I think our S&Cs are very good at still beasting us in a match week, so we'll see how that plays out.
What has pre-season been like? Give us a flavour of just how hard the fitness is.
It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Obviously, there's been like just running elements. There's been kind of almost, how would you call it, like circuit conditioning. There's been some gym stuff. There's obviously been, as we've started to increase the rugby bit, the physical side of stuff in terms of like the contact conditioning, all that sort of stuff. And then it's kind of just time on feet, like lots of sessions, 2-3 sessions sometimes on a morning, another one backed up in the afternoon. So it's just like that repetitive nature of it. But it's been awesome. And obviously with it being the English summer, and actually we've had a half decent one, it's also been roasting. So you get that added bit when you're working really hard, and obviously, the sun's been out.
It's been dead competitive as well. Like we've had a lot of competition, whether it's like in 4 different teams, 3 different teams, or 2 different teams. So it's been really driving that out of us, which has been super fun, to be fair. I enjoy that side of it. So yeah, it's been rough, but it's been really cool.
Luckily we've been on the same team as well, so there's been no kind of extra niggle.
And you point to the fact that Emily's experienced a home World Cup. How much has that been a big buzz, a big motivator, and a feeling within this squad of women that this is such a huge opportunity for this team?
I think it's huge. Like, you only have to look at, we keep referencing it, but why not? Because what the Lionesses did with the home Euros, and the way that just magnified the sport and everything that came off the back of that for them, I think it's a huge opportunity for us. Like, we know that, especially how well they've done again this summer, like women's sport at the minute is really on the rise, and rightly so. It's been incredible to see. But we know that it's a huge opportunity. Like, we need to get, obviously, our stuff right. We need to go and put performances in that inspire each other more than anyone else, because then everything else will come. But yeah, it's a really good opportunity for us to actually take this sport into the next stratosphere. Like, it happened every World Cup that we've had so far, and it just feels like we're really like sat on a little bubble of something pretty special.
I think as well, like, as a nation, we'd love to get behind success and sport. And I guess when you put those two things together, and hopefully obviously as we hope we do well and we progress through the competition, like, I think the anticipation of that is just like amazing. Obviously we want to do so much for women's rugby, women's sport, but also just like, it's how good is it to have hopefully a successful story in a nation that loves sport.
Yeah, the ticket sales have already been amazing. You're going around the country, starting in Sunderland, which was a really unusual but I think quite inspired place to start your first match, start the tournament. But obviously, as you point to, it's kind of predicated on success, isn't it, in terms of the momentum. But you come into this, somebody said to me, never has a team been more of a favourite in a home tournament of all time, because your run of 25 games unbeaten, only losing over the last few years in a World Cup final, before that, the magnificent run you had as well, it does make you out and out favourites. Is that a good thing to go in with? Do you feel that weighs heavily on you? Or?
I think we're happy to wear it. I think, like, obviously we
don't know about the rest. No, I'm joking.
I think it's so exciting. Obviously, Six Nations, WXV competitions, the years that have gone by, like, we've really grown, and I think having the opportunity to be at home, showcase that to everybody, and as I say, just kind of wear that pressure a little bit. Like, we know it, we expect that of ourselves. I don't think you'd ask anyone in our squad says we don't want to go and win that and we don't think we're capable of doing it. But we also appreciate and respect the fact that there'll be other nations and players that will be saying exactly the same thing. And I think sometimes that's the joy of a World Cup. Like, it is crazy competitive. Like, the cliche of we've got to go one game at a time. You have to put your head down, one game at a time, keep kind of move forward from that. But honestly, like, super excited. We've had end of a long week, so maybe we're not giving the energy, but it's so exciting.
God, this is the most energy I've ever seen you give. Like, honestly, yeah, it's so true. And I think, like, speaking from experience, like, the way Scazzy talks about it is exactly how we all feel. Like, we are genuinely so excited about what's to come. It feels like we've been speaking about the home World Cup for so long, and now suddenly it's here. Like, we're doing our squad photo, the announcement's gone out, and it genuinely is feeling real. And I think I'm just buzzing for the next few weeks. I can't wait to get stuck in.
Benchmarks keep being kind of shifted and records keep being broken in terms of, you know, what goes on here at Twickenham, sellout crowds, and obviously record crowds during the Six Nations. All those things show the growth and interest in the sport increasing. And we'll be looking at all those things, you know, as broadcasters, we look at those things going, you know, kind of how many tickets have been sold. Where do you think women's rugby can be? What's the kind of, you know, the holy grail, the utopia for you at the end of this World Cup in terms of success?
I would personally love to see, obviously, a boom in grassroots, so people getting down to their local rugby clubs, whether it's boys, girls, everyone else, just that they see how amazing the people involved in the sport are, because there's nothing quite like being at your local rugby club and everyone just mucking in. Like, you've got the family involved in it as well, you know what it's like. And I also think I'd love to see our matches well attended at the PWR level, because I think that's kind of the bit that's missing at the minute. Like, everyone loves international, they get behind it, they, especially with the Red Roses, like, whoever we kind of play, they end up getting like a record crowd, which is incredible, but we would love to see that across the board. And for me, definitely see those home crowds coming in for the PWR matches, and just see the lift in that week on week would be pretty special.
I think definitely like new eyes to it as well. I think certainly as women's rugby, we're trying to maybe reach a new audience that's different to maybe men's rugby, and really trying to attract those people. So I think it's an awesome opportunity. Like, I know whenever I'm watching something on TV, whether it be a cricket World Cup, I want to go and do that sport. Like, that's just what happens, isn't it? Like, you have a little bit of, oh, okay, maybe I could do some of that. So hopefully, just with the span of media and obviously BBC stuff and whatnot, hopefully that will encourage more to get involved.
The fact that it's on like BBC is just incredible for us, because we want to be able to, for people to be able to see it. Like, we've never really had anyone come to a match or see a game and think, I'm not going to watch that again. Like, we've always only ever had really positive outcome from people actually getting eyes on the sport and seeing what we do. So that's huge for us, and hopefully we can really see that.
We spoke to Ellie Kildunn on the podcast a couple of months ago, and it was just off the back of the Six Nations, and talked about personality in rugby. And it was kind of just, I think, the aftermath, or the, you know, the Henry Pollock kind of moment, with him kind of doing his pulse celebration and all of that. And obviously you guys have always had all of that and never seemed to kind of shy away from the personality that comes, whether it's cowboy hats, celebrations, in-game kind of, you know, dancing with the crowd, Sarah Byrne. All that stuff has come very naturally. It doesn't feel like it's forced at all.
No, I think that's the beauty of it. Like, we've always been encouraged, especially now in this crop of players, to be authentically ourselves, and I think that shines through. Like, we love each other to pieces. Like, the girls are some of your best mates. Like, Skaz has been my best mate since 2010 or something daft. So, like,
did you know that?
Yeah,
I do now.
Brilliant, that sums us up. But like, we are playing and training with some of our best mates, and we encourage that out of each other, and I think that's the thing, that's what you see, that's what rings through for the girls, because everyone's happy to be themselves and put themselves out there.
Rugby also seems to attract like an amazing diverse group of
randoms.
Yeah, like the individuals are amazing, their stories are like insane, and then you kind of mash them all together in one big team, and you have some fantastic personalities, some brilliant moments, people that want to, you know, express themselves in such different ways, and it's so nice to be able to see that players are able to do that, they're being celebrated doing that, and obviously social media is a pretty big
but
part
that's
of
the other thing, you kind of have taken to social media very naturally. I think at one point, obviously, TikTok heavily involved in sponsorship, and that perhaps that was a really fortuitous kind of coming together at the right time, because that is where young people are finding out about things and people, isn't it? And personalities that they want to then go and watch.
100%. And a very good friend of ours always tells us people follow people, and like I think that we have a huge opportunity in our sport to do that, whereas people might not want to follow rugby and the whole thing. They might follow a Sarah Byrne who's dancing on the sideline and love watching that content post game, and then actually as a result of that they watch her in the next game, and then they see all the rest of us. And so it's a quite an easy knock-on effect, isn't it? But it has to start somewhere. And
Ilona Meyer, I guess, is the brand leader in that respect, isn't she? In terms of almost shamelessly saying, right, look, just come follow me and see how brilliant this sport is. She's not doing it for kind of attention per se. It's about shining a light, reflecting that back onto the sport.
But I just thought how amazing it was that in her acceptance speech the other night, when she referenced the Women's Rugby World Cup and was just like, you're not going to understand it, we don't understand it, just come and watch it. And I just think in that moment to have that thought, like, she's so clever in terms of what she thinks about and how she
natural marketeer.
Oh, she's brilliant. Honestly, we spoke to her. She's like strategizes everything, and you can see it. But it, like, what a moment for her to be able to shine a light on it. Just incredible.
Yeah, to a very different audience, and that's what you're hoping to attract, I guess, in this World Cup, isn't it? Another different audience. But there has to be some very successful rugby played along the way as well, which you've been very good at over the last few years. So let's talk about you two in particular. And first of all, you, Mo, obviously you've talked about your age before, which I've loved your comments about kind of people obsessing with age, and actually it's about how well you're playing and how much better you feel you're playing than even you were 10 years ago. Do you think part of that kind of, because you guys have had a transition from not being full-time to being full-time, and actually it's the miles on the clock, isn't it, and the energy, because rugby is so demanding of the body, that you can still be at this kind of peak performance now, says a lot about how professional the game is in managing you.
100%. I think that, and also my stubbornness, if I'm honest, like, not to give up. But yeah, no, definitely the fact that when we were younger, if anything, it was harder. Like, I was working personally as a PE teacher, so I would be up training before work, plan and mark the next day. After I finished training at night, I have to prep my food. So it was absolutely relentless. But I'm so glad I lived through that time, because you really appreciate the time that we get now, like the time to rest and recover and do your meal prep and to stretch and do all of those things that you need to do. But yeah, it's definitely like one that you don't really look like. 5 World Cups is crazy, and
like, almost not making this World Cup in terms of the injuries that you've had to overcome over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think obviously Moses scrum off, so she stays clear of some of the contact, which has probably helped her along the way. But yeah, I think, like, obviously 14 months out of the game with my neck injury, didn't know whether you'd come back or not. Like, I was pretty happy with my lot at that point. But this is like almost another opportunity, like an added extra opportunity almost, which is why I feel kind of so free. And I think both of us, we don't like talking about age. We know we're the older members of the squad, of course, but if you're still doing what you're doing and you're doing it I think sometimes for us, because we've been through so much, we now have this sense of freedom about it, because it's not, it's really not dragging us down or holding us back in any way. You're like, this is, for me anyway, almost like an added extra. Let's just go and see what happens, as opposed to weighing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me. Like, I don't mind anyone talking about my age if it's in a positive way, and if it's I'm not getting to the ball, it's probably because of like a physical thing or something like that, not necessarily like the age that I am. Like, I feel like I'm throwing myself around, I'm holding my own with everyone else, so it doesn't need to be about that. Like, talk about my rugby, talk about what I'm doing on the pitch, and I think I've always been like that. Just like reference it for me, and you don't need to go on about stuff like that unless it's relevant.
I've read you talking about a Lions tour. I mean, so you're planning on going on a lot longer beyond. This is no swan song for you, this World Cup.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I love rugby. I absolutely adore the sport. Like, I genuinely love the camaraderie with the girls, like putting my body through it, challenging myself, and I've always loved that. And while I'm still enjoying it, that's the most important thing for me. And while I'm still playing all right and I'm in the mix, like, why would I stop? That's my mindset on it. And I've been fortunate enough to be involved in 2 GB cycles with the Olympics, and they were some of my favourite memories of rugby, like just coming together with like other nations, seeing their cultures, like building that in such short succession, and then going on and trying to achieve something. And I would absolutely love to be part of it. It's not going to define me, like same as Skaz. If it happens, that would be the ultimate, and it would be the best way to go out, and I would absolutely relish it. But if it doesn't happen, then at least I've given it a crack.
And let's also talk about the elephant in the room, New Zealand, who are the team who have stopped England succeeding at a number of World Cups, and obviously last time in the cruelest of fashions as well. Why are England going to beat New Zealand this time?
Ooh, what a good question.
There we are. Straight back.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing it's really exciting is to actually see how every team goes through this competition. Like, obviously, we've got warm-up games coming up, every team has, and then naturally you build throughout a competition. And for New Zealand, for France, for Canada, some of those kind of more favourite teams, it's going to be fascinating to see how everyone builds throughout that in terms of the work that they've put in. I think, like, any game where you play against New Zealand is always, like, proper. You know you're going to have to be right up for it. They grow up throwing a rugby ball around. I know rugby's not our main sport here, but obviously we pay a huge amount of attention to it. But in New Zealand, it's literally the life and soul of the place. So they have some phenomenally talented players. I think, look, we back ourselves in terms of the work that we've put in, and how we all want to play the game and all that sort of stuff. But fundamentally, I just think it's two absolute, like, rugby giants that could potentially go at it. And for me, that's so exciting. They're the games that you want to be involved in. They're the spectacles that you want to showcase our sport to new audiences and those that love it as well. So it's probably not answered your question, Gabby, but
I just wonder if Tom Mitchell and his understanding of Kiwi rugby, if that has added another dimension maybe to the group.
I don't know if it's specifically about them, but what he's done is really empowered us, and his language is all about how we're in such a better place than we were a few years ago. Like, the amount of rugby and the amount of different experience we've had as this group together through that time is really going to stand us in great stead. I think you just look at some of the girls like Maud Burner, like our front row, for example. They were super young in New Zealand a couple of years ago, and they've matured so incredibly, like, through that time, both at club and country. And I think everyone's had that journey. Everyone's along that line quite a lot. We haven't got a lot of people that are coming in for their first World Cup.
Undercooked.
Quite a lot of experience in the mix, which will massively help us come the knockout stages.
And one of the questions through the Six Nations, just briefly, is often because you've had such dominant wins that you've perhaps not felt as tested as you might going into a World Cup. Is there a way you can? I don't know. You can't kind of achieve that artificially, can you? You know, it's very difficult to get tested.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think obviously we do work in training around scenarios and you're putting pressure on yourselves, but ultimately if you don't get it in training, you've not lost a World Cup, have you? So it's hard because the same weight isn't on those moments. But I think if you look back even just to this season, we had a really tough game against Canada at the last game of WXV. We had a really tough game against France at the last game of Six Nations. So we've got two big games even within the last 12 months to call on and look back on and really scrutinise in terms of how you maybe do things differently or get out of those certain situations and all that sort of stuff. So yes, although it doesn't happen like every other game or as often as some people would like, there's definitely that in the bank. And I also think, don't take for granted the fact that PWR has, like, we're all playing, bar Mo because she keeps winning the title, but everybody else is playing really super competitive teams and games, and you're having to solve problems constantly and work through stuff. So all of that is banked experience as individuals.
Guys, we've been behind in the last two games at half time.
Well, I can see you both so excited to go. It feels like you're kind of coiled springs, ready to take on this World Cup. One final point, I was very kindly gifted a little bag of products, skincare. I can say the brand. I mean, there are other skincare brands. Clinique are one of your sponsors, yeah. And I just thought that was actually an interesting kind of moment. It's the first time that there's been a skincare sponsor for the Roses, and shows really kind of the growth and the kind of attraction and power of women's sport and women's rugby to get these kind of brands on board. But you must have seen, you know, going from your first international in front of a few people in Isha, I think it was it? And now you're selling out kind of big stadiums. You couldn't get a free lip balm then, I tell you. Oh, it's massive. Like, things like that make such a difference, and you, like, brands are now so interested in getting on board, aren't they? They really want to be involved. You obviously referenced TikTok in terms of the kind of growth that had when it was part of the Six Nations. Clinique are brilliant. Like, just, I guess, very real. We spend so much time outside, like, we need skincare. It's a nightmare being outside so often in all weathers, but stuff like that is, but it's indicative of where the sport's going, isn't it? And I think having female specific sponsors to female sport is also a really kind of big step in. We've seen it in women's football, haven't we? Those you know, attracting those kinds of brands. So Yeah. So, well, good luck with the lip balm and
Got a good story for you off there.
What, you've all come out in hives?
No, they give you one for player of the match, and there was what was it?
So Clinique do Game Face player of the match for PWR. So Mo won player of the match one day, got a little gift bag, and basically she got this thing that she thought was lip balm, been using it as lip balm for weeks.
No, I sat in we were in Red Roses camp, and I got this like purple, and obviously some of the other girls like Meg Jones has won player of the match. So I got out this purple thing for my lip balm, and Meg's like,
no, hold on. She's like, girls, this lip balm is so good. Like, laughing. Like, girls, you should try this. And everyone's like, Mo, what was it?
It was
retinol cream. We were like,
but in that moment, I was so crushed because I never have good stuff.
Yeah, but I imagine that would work wonders. It would be a very expensive way of looking after your lips, but I'm sure it would work wonders. Yeah. Well, good luck with these.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The Sports Agents
with Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman.